Hiya and welcome to this sewing tutorial where I will be showing you how to make these trousers. And the trousers are made with fabric that I have made another tutorial video on how to do. So here you can see it. It's just cotton linen that's dyed with some watercolor technique, and it then turns into these wool trousers with elasticated waistband and a little bit of flare in the trousers. So yes, that's my foot. And welcome. So for this tutorial, I am using my style hacking book that has so many good, if I may say so myself, techniques on how to make clothes without using any paper pattern. So you simply just mark and measure from your own clothes, and you can transfer those measurements onto some cardboard or some paper, but you can also do it directly on the fabric that I will show you how to do now. So you need a pair of trousers that fit, and some that aren't too tight. If they're too tight, you can't make them like elasticated waistband. Then you have to do a different technique with the zipper, but this will be elasticated waistband. So I'm placing the folded jeans on this fabric that is lying in 2 layers, and I'm making a seam allowance of approximately 1.5 centimeters all the way around, apart from in the sides. You can see in the sides I'm doing a bit more. I'm making that 3 centimeters, so I have a bit more give when I need to pull the trousers up and down, and also I want them a bit wider in the feet as well. And you can always, if they get too big, you can then make that seam in the sides smaller and simply adjust them like that. And because I'm going to make an elasticated waistband, then I just make them approximately 1 centimeter seam allowance on top of the jeans. So that was the front part of the trousers, and now I'm going to do the back part. So the back part is a little bit more tricky because from the front you could actually fold the trousers in completely, so you could see exactly what fabric you need to mark from. But here from the back you need to make a marking on where the actual center seam is in the crotch. And again, I'm giving it 3 centimeters to the sides and 1 centimeter everywhere else, apart from then the side seam in the crotch, because you need to have that as a bit longer. So you need to see where the trousers are and then mark them as close to that as you possibly can. So then you can see that the different pieces for the front and the back of the trousers are a lot different. The back piece is wider and it has that kind of deeper bit going in, and it also has a higher bit to the back, so you can see here the difference on them. And that's because your bum is normally a little bit bigger than your front. So for this, I'm going to do a serger seam on all of the pieces. So that's of course not that many, it's 4 pieces, and you can also just do a normal zigzag stitch. It's simply just to make sure that the fabric doesn't fray. So that's very quick because I only showed you 1 seam, but it doesn't take too long. And make sure to do it because it's annoying if your fabric frays. So it's a good idea to just keep track of that. And then it's time to stitch up all these pieces. And of course I need to gather my 2 front pieces and my 2 back pieces. And I'm starting with stitching up the 2 back pieces. So I'm starting at the top and then going all the way from the rise on the back and in towards the center bottom seam. And I'm then doing it on the front, again placing the 2 pieces of fabric front to front, and then again doing the center seam here, so you can see that's my little front piece and then the back piece. And then I'm putting these 2 pieces on top of each other and starting at one of the hearts, the side seams at the top. So I'm placing them front to front, so front of the back piece that's stitched together, facing the front of the front pieces that are stitched together, and then stitching them all the way down the sides till I get to the leg opening. And then I'm going to do the other side. I'm starting at the top, making sure the 2 tops are aligned, and you can see there as the fabric is lying there that the rise on the back of the trousers is a little bit higher, as it's supposed to be, than the back. And I'm always hoping that the legs fit at this point. They don't always do, but then I can adjust it as I go along. And then I'm just aligning the 2 center seams in the crotch area, and then stitching all the way down along the inner legs. So the inner leg seam here all the way down towards the bottom leg opening, And again, I'm starting at the center and I'm stitching all the way down here. And again, hoping that it fits, and it does. And then the trousers are stitched together. So this is a good time for you to try them on and see if they go up over your hips easily. Hopefully they do. And if they're way too big, then you can always stitch them in a little bit in each side. So for this elastic, the elasticated waistband, I'm just stitching this piece of elastic together, and I've measured that it fits around my waist and that it goes up over my hips easily, up and down. And then I'm gonna adjust it now to the actual waist opening. So I'm kind of adjusting it so it's stitched, so it's put on with clips all the way around, and then I need to stretch this elastic, and I'm stretching it evenly all the way around. And I'm just stitching it on with a zigzag stitch because that's an elasticated seam, so that will work really well when I stretch out this fabric to actually put the trousers on and take them off. And and it's good to have these wonder clips in as you go along just to see where you are. So a nice zigzag stitch all the way around here, so I get all the way around in the waist opening. And then there isn't much to do before these trousers are done. It's simply just hemming the bottom, the leg opening, and then it's done. As soon as I've just finished this, and I stretch the elastic. And when you stretch the elastic, be careful to hold in the other side as well, so you don't just stretch it and kind of pull it out of your machine. So that looks very gathered here, but of course when I put the trousers on, that will stretch out really well. And then it's time to hem them, and you can try them on and see how much hemming you need. I've kind of made them a little bit longer than I need them to be because I really like this wide hemming that you fold them up towards the back, maybe 5 centimeters or so, and then stitch them in place. I think it looks kind of retro. I think it's kind of fun. So that's the technique I like to use. But of course, if you don't have enough fabric and you just made them just to fit, you can also just fold them up 1 centimeter towards the back and then stitch them in place like that. And for this, I just use a normal stitch and not a zigzag stitch like I used before. And that's then the other one, trying to measure them so I fold them up the same amount so that I have legs that are the same length. That's a good thing. And then putting that into the machine. Wow, this is the last little bit. Then it's simply a pair of trousers made. And I hope that you like this tutorial and that you give it a go yourself. A lot of people are afraid of trying how to sew trousers because they are a little bit more difficult than just a top or just a dress. But it's not impossible, and you can easily give it a go. And if you use some cheap fabric, like for example this linen or some bed linen perhaps, then it's not the worst if you make a mistake and you need to give it another go. So you can always practice with that. And happy making, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.